All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. I have Natu. I have Tima. I have Just Jay. Let's go with Natu first. How you ladies doing?
¿Cómo estás?
Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hey,
Yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts? I want to hear your thoughts around this because listen, I have some answers, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
honestly, just like everybody said in the comment section,
Uh
this
huh.
has to be with an individual person. And I feel like he knows that he has done a lot already that has hurt her feelings outside. So I just feel like some stuff that even if he has an opinion, see, when you always say avoid the need to shalaye, this is it.
This is it.
So yeah, so even when you have an opinion, at times like you just don't say anything. You understand what I'm saying? So let's
Yeah.
just say, for example, now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and you, or let's say, okay, you as a married man, there are some things that you will see that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, this is a good point. This is good for us to share. Like, let me just share so that people will learn from it. But then you now realize that something has happened in your house. And if you
Right.
post this, it's going to be like you're spiting your wife. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, you know what? I'm going to pass up this one. So,
Yep.
you understand what I'm saying? So, honestly, I feel like he didn't care so much about her. If
Mm-hmm.
he does, I will jump on this question. Any
Mm.
question that has to involve like women, infidelity, and whatever, when they ask, he's supposed to skip it and be
Mm.
like, I have no comment. Just
Right.
because he wants to protect his wife's feelings. But
Right.
because she has, and this is another thing that we're talking on TV show yesterday, when you give room for too much BS, it's going to get to a point where you can't control it and you are not allowed to complain because
Right.
you have enabled it to a certain extent and now it seems like a norm. So now, okay, all this while it's okay. Why is it that this now that is not okay?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, my own opinion.
Yeah. 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 Thank you so much. Hold on. Stay right there. Just Jay. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
how are you, lady?
I'm doing okay. So I just
Oh
want to
my
call
God.
in.
So good to hear your voice
Yep,
again
yep.
after like
Yes,
50 years.
sir. I just want to call in because it's just easier to probably say it.
Uh-huh.
This is a conversation that goes on a lot. I do think there are different components, right? That will contribute to, like, it's so many different variables, right?
Right.
Men have higher testosterone levels than women, right? Testosterone is a sex hormone, it's a male sex hormone, and that keeps men's sex drive up. When guys deal with low testosterone, sometimes it affects them in ways that that leads to ED, different things like that, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
do think that there's a biological component, right, to the high libido, right?
Yes.
But that don't necessarily answer the question for me when I think about why many partners, right? Because if you
Right.
have a high libido and you got a woman, then okay. But we know it's different factors, right? Okay, so
Right.
that's the first thing. The other thing, like I said, what is the consequence? What is the payoff? Like me personally, the price is too high. Like, can you afford the cost? With this situation here with the guy Two Face, I mean, if we think about it on an esoteric level, she is telling him how to treat her, right? If we look at it from that level, she is
Right.
giving him permission through her being passive about whatever, or taking him back, whatever the case is, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
then you also have that. Ultimately, I would not feel safe with a man like that, because for me, my trust is also tied with like fidelity. There are also people out there who are okay with that. Like I was telling
Right.
Shiny, there are some women who are okay with their man doing whatever out there, long as he pay the bills and come home. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that was some old school stuff that I saw, and a lot of the old school men that I grew up knowing, they had a wife, they had girlfriends, but the bills was always paid. They took care of the house, and I don't know if people just decided to tolerate it or if they were truly okay with it. I think
Right.
that most women tolerate that type of behavior. I don't think that most women just accept it. Now, me personally, would I have loved to experience different size Johnsons and stuff? Oh, sure, why not? But the price is too high. The price is too high for me. you know. And so some of that leads to society. We know that women can't run the streets the same way a man can run the streets and still be accepted socially, right? So we also have this social construct, you know, let
Right.
alone being exposed to diseases, different partners. And nowadays people are just unhinged. A lot of people can't just go out and have sex nowadays and just come home, because then they want to stalk you, they want to come to your house. It's just way too many variables and just way too many consequences for me.
Right.
But I think if you care about your partner, it is something that should be discussed as transparent as possible. Like, hey babe, look, I'm having these urges, you know, I want some variety. Like, if people
Wait.
are
Stop right
feeling,
there. Stop right
okay,
there.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
If I was your partner and I come to you and I say, hey, I'm having some urges, and how would you respond to that?
I probably would be taken aback, right? Because I ain't gonna say I'm just like, oh, okay, come sit down, babe, let's talk about it. No, I'm gonna feel away, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna need a minute to process my emotions, because my adult self understands that, okay, he feels safe enough
He's
to
being
come talk to
honest.
me, right? He feels safe enough to have this conversation with me, and we're together. How can we deal with this effectively? How can I convey my feelings to him, how this will affect me, and just try to see if we can work around that. But I definitely think that partners having the conversation with one another would definitely be at the top, because if you care about your partner feelings, you know, I don't necessarily think that
Now
people
let me
just
ask you
willing to
this.
run out the street. Go
Let
ahead.
me let me ask you this: if that urges was just that bad that he needed to self sabotage, potentially destroy his family, do you really think he would come to you and come on like, hey babe? If that urge is that bad,
Well,
right?
if it was on that level, right, with the self sabotage, like you said, then probably not. This is not probably something they would come talk to me about. But like I was saying, when you have a partner that truly cares
Right.
about your feelings, how they leave you, feeling, y'all in it for the long haul. So
Right.
it's a very real conversation, right? But as we know, most people not able to have that conversation.
Right.
Definitely self sabotage, and like I say, is the price? Can you afford it? You know.
Right.
And it's
Right.
unfortunate. Can you afford it? I wouldn't want to betray. When I was married, right? Even like you said, fleeing temptation, like Chinese said, that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
Me in general, right? Especially when I was married. Some situations I don't leave doors open,
Right.
figuratively speaking, right? I
Right.
don't leave room for error. Some people be like, oh, you don't trust yourself.
You don't
Damn
trust
right I don't
yourself.
trust myself. Damn right I don't.
Right.
Because
Right.
because emotions are fleeting, feelings are fleeting. Like,
Yep.
we human, so it doesn't mean I don't love my partner. What it does
Right.
mean is I probably put myself in a situation that now that trust will be compromised. So me, I keep certain doors closed. When I was married, my male friends, I didn't hang out with them a lot anyway, but even when I did, my male friends became my ex-husband's friends. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we wasn't all sitting on the couch together. Usually I was making food, the fellas was hanging out doing their thing. Things like that. I'm not going to be by myself with certain people, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
regardless
Right.
of what people want to say, like, when there's an attraction with people, it doesn't mean that
Exactly.
you're in love with a person. You understand human dynamics. And if people
Yep.
are honest, you have to be honest with yourself to avoid this type of stuff. But just being ignorant, saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna pray that the devil get off my back." Okay, you go in that room when you already know you're attracted to the little piano man at the church, and y'all go to looking at each other and see what happens from there. But
Right.
anyway, I could go on and on. At the end of the day, people got to keep certain doors closed. We all would like to experience variety, but is the cost?
Right.
Can you afford it?
It is costly.
That's all I'm saying.
Last question, right?
Uh huh.
A person that have enough self control to come to you and be honest,
Hmm.
right? There's some chances that they probably have enough self control to do to come up with other solutions than to go and cheat
Right.
on you, right? So do you sense some oxymorons there? Like, hey, if you're feeling that way, just come to me. If your husband has enough self control to come to you in that way,
Hmm.
maybe he wouldn't need you at all to come to you, because then he would have done the necessary self-control
Right. Right.
decision, right? Like he's over it. It was a thought in his mind with the girl at the break room,
Hmm.
but he had enough self-control, right? He will now come to you and say, because let's think about this, right? You said you will feel away, right? if I come to you and I tell you like I'm feeling some type of way, there's a chick I'm attracted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to trust me for the rest of your life? Even though
It
I didn't do
depends.
anything, I came to you. I'm being honest with you.
But for me, it depends, right? Because you're already coming to me, right? So this
Right,
means we do have a level of transparency, right? And
right,
I'm at the age now where we had a conversation the other day, me and some ladies, and they were saying like they don't want their guy talking about they love their ex and whatever. I said, well, I've matured to the point in my life where I understand that you can still love someone. That doesn't mean that you
right,
want to be with that person. You can
right,
just have a love because you may have shared a child with this person. You may have shared a big part of your life with this person, right? It doesn't
right,
mean a person is going to step out. So in that regard, I would feel like this is he feels safe enough to express that to me,
right,
because sometimes people don't express things and it becomes insidious, like it lays in wait, right? So if he come to me, right, there's no shame to feed
right.
off of in the mind, but also like you said, if they come into me, then maybe that's a conversation to figure out if we
Maybe
need to change some things up in the
maybe that's
bedroom.
a
I don't know.
maybe that's an issue. He has no shame. I think I think it's terrible advice to go to your woman to tell her who you're attracted to. She will not get over it.
I'm talking
I'm
about you
just
wanting to sleep out. I ain't talking about just, oh, I'm attracted to this person. Because we all attractive. We find people
yeah.
attractive.
Oh,
You
all
understand
of
what
the
I'm saying?
above.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right. You're
Oh,
right.
you think
All,
so?
but
All of the above?
I'm saying all of the above. I think if you feeling some type of way about another woman, or you want to do it, or if you know, like, big gentlemen, be careful with that. That's that honesty talk right there. Sometimes honesty fall right off his face. But I want to say,
You have to say it in the poro.
they're correcting you on the pronunciation. It's not Chinese, it's Chiye. Just so you know, just
Oh, Chie. My
Chiye.
bad.
Yes, yeah, yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
I
You're good.
always call her
She get-
Chinese in my head. Okay.
right, right. Trust me. The first time I had to see that and pronounce, because she spelled it wrong, so I struggled with that too. But anyway, the point I'm making there is that in an ideal world, right?
Right.
Like human beings are just simple, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
like we're humans, we have feelings for other people, or we have urges to do something outside of another person, right? I'll come to you. There are people with that lifestyle. People are quote unquote being honest, and they're open to different lifestyles these days. They're doing what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average human being unfortunately cannot handle that, and it won't if they can handle it, it won't be as simple as the conversation, right? It will
True.
be a situation that will basically, if your wife had never felt any sense of lack of trust ever before,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to you. You just planted the seed. She would now start to look because she didn't see it coming. You're being honest. That was your intentions. Intentions end up in the poto all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intentions, good intentions are, I think it's good. It's cute. It's honorable, right? But you might have a good intention. You might create a different outcome altogether, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just imagining me coming to my wife and I'm trying to practice self-control. But there's nothing in my mind that spells lack of self-control other than I couldn't even deal with that issue myself. I had to take it to her, right?
Well, I guess I should have clarified, right?
Yes.
I find people attractive all the time. I'm not saying that a man should report every time he saw a woman and he was like, wow, she's gorgeous. Like, no, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about things that really may compromise the relationship. And I guess my line of thinking was, like you said, maybe that's a conversation to have to see if they can have a meeting of the minds of some other solutions, right? To curb that desire to step out is what I'm saying.
Right,
Like
right,
what
right,
can we do different in our relationship? That's kind of where I was leaning towards. But yeah, not
right,
not just, oh, we was at work and she was just so good, she looked so good and she was smelling good. Like, no, I'm gonna scratch your
right,
face off. Like,
right,
shut
right.
up and keep that to yourself. Don't tell me none of that.
Yeah, yeah. Part of this of the issue with Two Face, this is actually a barbershop talk. It's not
Mm,
stuff you push out into the public, right? It's not. We can have weird opinions that are completely wild. You should be aware that, if you put that out there and you are actively engaged in mansplaining to women, you're not gonna win with that.
True.
You know, it's part of social intelligence. We can have, just like this conversation of attraction or there's a urge, right? You can have things crawling through your mind. If in the name of honesty you need to say everything out at your partner, you're just a rude person.
Yeah.
You call it, they call it blunt. I'm like, no, 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 you're just rude. You know, and
Brutally honest. I never
yeah,
understood that.
brutally
Why do you have
honest.
to be brutal, right?
Yes, yes. There's a chance at least that you're just being brutally honest, and the only thing that the human mind can read is the brutal part of it, right? This is the issue with honesty too, right? When you come and you're being honest, she's an adult. She might even appreciate, like you were saying, right? Like, you came to me. But now, what other additional thoughts have you successfully sown inside of her that you will have to deal with later in massive ways, right? Is she gonna have to look over her shoulder every time there's another chick that looks exactly like the chick you talked about the last time? Those are things that I would, that I feel might be a lot easier for men that lack self-control. They would just rather cheat. That's in addition to there's a real need to cheat. There's some kind of benefit they get from the secrecy of it. We're not talking about that. The fact that, yes, this is actual cheating. This is an actual act that I only enjoy when my partner does not know about it. Once she knows about it, even if she gives me outright permission, it does not have the same emotional effect. Do you guys understand what I'm saying there?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's some of the part of the conversation I would like to talk about. But yeah, thank you so much, Just Jay. Hang in there if you want to.